numbers so quickly? Well, I used my graphing calculator and I plugged in the function, and I'm taking the limit of this as x approaches -1. And if we go to our table, so if we go to our table, we can see a whole bunch of the different values that we would get. Of course, those aren't the numbers that we plugged in. So what we want to do so we can plug in the numbers that we want for x is we want to go to table set. So second and then table set. And then right here, instead of having the independent variable or your x as auto, we want to go to ask. So we go to ask and we hit enter. And now when we go back to the table, it's all blank. And we can actually plug in the numbers that they gave us. So in this case, we have -1.1. And when we hit enter, you get -5.2, which is what I put in. Then -1.01, and we got the -0.502, and so on and so forth. So all you really need to do is plug it into your graphing calculator and then use the table feature. And you can find all these values, and you'll notice when you plug in -1, you get an error, and I guess I could keep going here. But basically, you can see that you are approaching, when you come up this way and you go down this way, you're approaching -5, which is the answer that we got. So you can do that for the rest of them if you want to follow along with me. And now we're going to do these graphically. So this one graphically, we already have it in there, y equals, and we can just look at the graph. And this is what the graph looks like. It's coming. Okay, it almost looks like a straight line, but it's clearly, well, I don't know if it's clearly not a straight line. It could be a straight line, but all we care about is as x approaches -1, so I should do it over here where you can see x approaches -1, so that means I'm approaching, right here's -1, right, as I'm approaching -1 from either side, so I'm coming this way, which means my graph is coming up this way. What is the y value right here where x equals -1? And it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Might be off a little bit. But basically, you're just looking at the graph. A nicer feature to use would be Desmos, and that is because you can actually trace it along here. Actually, you can do it here too, right? So if I can trace, it probably would have been a better way to do it anyway. You can just trace along. So right here it tells you what your x value is, what your y value is. As we approach, so I'm going to drag it. As we approach, I'm trying to drag it, it's not working. Hang on. What? Can't you just drag it? Like, oh. Can't just drag it. You have to move it with the arrows. So I'm going to keep moving it until, see, my x value is getting closer to -1. I'm going to keep going. Oh, I went on either side of it. So I'm on one side, I have -4.818. And then once I get to the other side of it, I have -5.1212. So you could probably see that it's approaching -5 based on the two different numbers we got there for y. If you wanted to zoom in right there, you could zoom in right at that point where x equals close to -1, and if I zoom in and then I trace it, I might be able to get even closer. So if I go to trace, and I'm at -1.06, so I can go to the right to get closer to -1. See, I'm getting closer to -5, and then I jumped on the other side, and I was on the other side of -5. So at any rate, either way, you can find that the limit as x approaches -1 of this function is -5. And I'm going to show you Desmos as well.